and welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
Today we're taking a look at Unmatched Adventures, Tales to Amaze. I like that. That was good.
If it's not amazing, I'm going to be disappointed.
I agree. So this is, as you can see, a big box game edition of Unmatched, which gives you 4 new characters, but turns Unmatched into a cooperative game, as opposed to before it was always a head-to-head or 3-player free-for-all, even teams. You can play on teams, 2 versus 2. Well, this is cooperative, and you are playing against one of 2 scenarios in here. You can go up against Mothman. You can go up against some alien invaders, some Martians. You can also use the 4 heroes that come in here to just play Unmatched.
Right.
Yep.
If you have some Unmatched extra stuff, you can mix it with that. You can take those characters and throw them in here. You can do anything you want to, is what I'm saying,
Anything.
okay?
Throw Ken and Barbie in. They're hot right now.
Done.
Easy. What else you got?
Maybe not that. Let's go ahead and take a look at an overview, and we will be right back. Here we've got the game set up and ready to begin for 2 players. So the first thing we do is select which scenario we want to go up against. So we've got the Mothman scenario on this side of the board. And if we flip it over, then we go against the Martian invaders here, the aliens, on the other side of this board, okay? Besides that, you're going to pick a minion per player and add them to the game. You can do this randomly or however you want to. We've got 2 players over here, so we've got the Skunk Ape and the Loveland Frog. And then there's a few other options. You've got Tarantula there, the Ant Queen, you've got the Jersey Devil, and the Blob. And again, if you were playing with 3 players, then you would just simply add 1 more of these. And now you're going up against the main baddie and more minions, all right? Each player has their character. You can pick any of the ones included in this box, like Golden Bat, Annie Christmas with Charlie as a sidekick here. You've got Nikola Tesla, and you've got Dr. Jill Trent with Daisy as a sidekick here. Or you can pick any of the characters that have come out before. So you could do Little Red Riding Hood against this. You could do whatever you want to, right? These characters can be used in the previous regular Unmatched game, just like you can use any of those characters in this mode of play. So, having done that, we've set up the board. There's these bridges. There are these tokens that overwhelm the bridges and destroy them, sort of impending doom. And there's this track at the top that when it hits this location, it will destroy a bridge. We are trying to keep that from happening, and we are trying to take down Mothman. Mothman's going to have 10 health per player, so 20 there. We managed to do that first, we win. So how does a round go? Well, we have a deck of cards here, which are going to show you who goes next. These are the initiative cards. So we take 1 for each player, player 1, player 2. We've got Mothman and then the 2 minions we've picked. These are all going to get shuffled up, and then we are ready to begin the round. And we do that by flipping over one of these cards and seeing what's next. So we flip one over. Okay, great. Player 1 is the first person to take a turn. So in this case, Golden Bat here. Now, the players' turns in this game are pretty straightforward. It's kind of what you expect. You're going to get your 2 actions. You have your normal maneuver or scheme or attack actions. You are going to, if you move next to one of these characters, you can attack them. They're going to always respond by flipping over a card from one of these decks. And these are going to have all of the values. So, for example, Golden Bat here might, for their first action, I'm going to put their deck right here. For their first action, they will maneuver, so they draw a card, and then they can move. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And then, for my second action, I am going to attack, okay? I'm going to attack the Mothman there. I play that card, and then we flip over one from Mothman's deck, and we see what happens. So this one says, immediately if the printed value of your opponent's card is 4 or higher, ignore its value. That's bad news bears. That's ignored. And so the defense is 1. So I did no damage. And then the after combat, this is the defender, so it happens first. If Mothman won the combat, add a doom token to each bridge. That's very bad because, again, the bridges are going to be destroyed. So we put one of these next to every bridge out here, like this. And then my after combat happens, which is if I won, I didn't. So, and then this discarded. And we will reshuffle them when we need to have a new deck, okay? That's it. That's my turn. And we now flip over the next one of these, and it's the Loveland Frog. And so we take an action with that. Next would be the Skunk Ape. Great. Then Mothman, and then player 2. It just worked out that way. Once this is all done, we've all gone. This might have moved up a little bit, what have you. Then we trigger these end of round abilities at the bottom of these cards. And these are things like deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter. Deal damage equal to the threat level to 1 hero or sidekick adjacent to the Skunk Ape. Advance the threat marker, a number of spaces equal to 1, plus the number of Doom tokens on the lowest numbered bridge. That would be 1, 2, 3, right, in this case. It wouldn't probably be that high this quickly, but it can. And then we're done, and we shuffle this up. The Loveland Frog happens to have an interesting one where they're fairly weak, but this card says to add one of these Loveland Frog Strikes Again cards to this pile. So it's going to go twice. And then next round, we add another one. So it's going to go 3 times, and so on. So that's interesting. It activates more frequently, but its attacks are fairly weak. It just goes again and again. So there you go. We shuffle this up, and we do it again. And this continues until we've lost all the bridges, or we've taken out Mothman here, and we've won. The bridges here have special abilities which you can activate by being next to them and then discarding a card from your hand. You're going to clear some of this threat, and you're going to activate an ability. You can, of course, do that until the bridge is gone. At that point, there's no connection between these locations, and, of course, you no longer can use that ability. Plus, every time we lose one of these, it goes up here, and we activate 2 bad things that are connected to it. Okay? Some bad stuff is going to happen. Let's take a look at the player characters included in the box and some of the cards that make them special, some of their abilities. We begin with Dr. Jill Trent right here and Sidekick Daisy. Now, Dr. Jill Trent has this Gadgetology ability, which is the start of your turn, you can activate one of your gadgets. That means you can put this out on the Hypno Ray Blaster side, and this gets added to all the cards you use on attacks. And then this side here has the Ultra Biotic Tonic, and it is this ability here. So either you're recovering health after combat if your card's printed value is higher, or if it's lower, then you boost that attack with a card from your opponent's deck, all right? So that's pretty cool. They always have then a little bit more than what's printed on their cards. There's always an extra ability printed on their cards. And then we've got these abilities here, I'm going to show you a few different ones. So Stasis Diffuser, the value of your opponent's card is equal to its printed value, cannot be changed. It's very interesting. They lock the value and stop any shenanigans from happening. We've got here this shuffle up to 3 cards in your discard pile back into your deck, and then you draw one. We've got this after combat. It's a tremendous hit, and after combat you gain an action. I really, really like this card. We've got this one here where after combat you got to heal or move or draw a card. And then one more here, the Battle of Wits. You, after combat, reveal the top card of your deck, and your opponent's deck, whoever has the higher boost, deals 3 damage to the opposing fighter. So you're playing war with your opponent. Really fun, again, if you like this sort of ability. So there you go, that is Jill Trent. Next up, we've got Golden Bat with a really cool pose here on the miniature. And then Golden Bat has 18 health, quite a bit, 3 move, also quite a bit. And then if you have not taken a maneuver action this turn, +2 to the values of your attacks, which is tremendous. And so we've got a few cards here. Alpine Fortress, choose a card from your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. Draw 2 cards, move up to 4 spaces, all for 1 action. Tremendous. We've got this, no ability here, 5 defense. We've got go to any location. Basically, if you do this scheme, you just show up anywhere you want to for your first action, right? And then if you have another one left, bam, you can punch somebody. This one, Vaporizing Eye Beams, your opponent discards a card at random. And again, don't forget, this could have been a 4, right? And this could have been a 7 if you did not maneuver. Tremendous hit there for possibly up to 7. So very simple cards, very simple, straightforward character, really, in many ways. but a powerhouse, a lot of health, very hard to take down, right? And I really enjoy that. Pretty simple and straightforward, but one of my favorite characters in the box, and that is Golden Bat. Next up, we've got Annie Christmas here, who has a necklace of pearls. She's got a sidekick as well, Charlie there. And then the necklace of pearls is +2 to the value of her attack if she has less health than the defender. So I really like that. If she is the underdog, everything gets +2. And so let's take a look at some of those. We've got this one here. Immediately, it's a 5-hit. Immediately deal up to 2 damage to Annie and draw that many cards. So this, it says here, may cause her special ability to apply. So very interesting. You do this at the beginning, and if that 2 damage drops you below the opponent's health, bam, this is suddenly a 7. Plus you got, maybe 1 or 2 cards out of it. So very strong, really like this card here, hurting yourself for a benefit and possibly a big boost. This bottom dealing lets you reveal the bottom card of your deck, increase this card by its value, its boost value, and then you can put that card back on the bottom or on top and know what's coming up. We've got here, deal 2 damage to each opposing fighter adjacent to Annie, very straightforward, big punch. Immediately, damage cannot reduce Annie's health below 1 this turn. If you defend with this, you cannot die this turn. Really interesting, might make the difference and buy you that 1 extra turn to win the game. Very much enjoy that. And then a card for Charlie here that after combat you draw 2 cards. So it should keep you, stocked in cards. And you want to be just below your opponent in health until you're ready to take them out with Annie Christmas here. Lastly, we're taking a look at Nikola Tesla here, who has these 2 coils. They are a ranged character, and they start with 1 coil charged. That means like this, ready to go. At the end of your turn, you're going to charge a coil, and at the start of your turn, if they're both charged, you deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter adjacent, and then move them up to 1 space. A lot of text, fairly straightforward to do, but this is a tricky character. There's quite a bit of coil manipulation, as you'll see. So here we go. This attack here for 7 hurts. After combat, you may discharge the coils, and if it's 1, you get an action. If it's 2, you also draw a card by, again, discharging these and flipping them back face down. We've got here alternating current. After combat, you choose 1, charge both, or discharge both to recover 2 health. X-ray radiation, you can reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. You may discharge coils, and then you discard that card, or you also discard it and add its boost value to this card's value. Here we've got immediately you may discharge coils, cancel all the effects, or also ignore the card's value. And so you can see most of them let you exhaust 1 for an ability, exhaust both for that ability and something else, which is really, really fun. Charge both, get an action. Here we go. Discharge 1 and make this a 5. Discharge both and make this a 7. Tremendously fun. Very neat. And again, you are recharging these because of this card. You begin with 1, you charge 1 at the end of your turn, and then if they're both on, you get to zap somebody who is adjacent to you for free anyway. Really, really neat stuff. So there you go. That is all the characters that come for the players in the box. I've played a decent amount of Unmatched. I think we all have. I know you certainly have.
I reckon I've played the least out of us in this group.
Right.
And I've still played
a decent amount. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'll speak for myself. I'll let you guys jump in. I really, really like Unmatched. I think Unmatched is a super fun, quick playing, head-to-head, or again, free-for-all, beat-em-up kind of feeling game. There's some strategy, a little hand management, some trickery, a lot of flavor with the characters they've come out with.
So much.
And this is, for me, when this was first announced, was fully unexpected. Unmatched was doing fine.
Right,
there was no need for them to be like,
more than fine.
We're reinventing the wheel.
They were like bestsellers. Every single month I do a bestsellers list for Game Nerds. It's like Unmatched, always up there.
Right, so this was kind of mind-blowing that they were like, let's take a huge risk and put out a version of this game that changes everything.
Right, yeah, basically.
And is fully compatible with everything else. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, even if I didn't like this game, and spoiler alert, I like it, but even if I didn't, I would have to give them a lot of credit just for taking such a big swing.
Yeah, you would still be stoked. Oh, there's 4 more characters, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you get 4 more characters.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And I
So-
looked at the MSRP on it, and this set, as opposed to like a 4-person set, it's honestly not even that much more expensive.
Right.
That's
so if
crazy.
you just want 4 more competitive characters, already that's okay.
And they're good characters. So we'll talk about those characters, and then we'll talk about this game, technically, right?
I go to the co-op thing. Unmatched at my house is getting played so much. We have like the grid. You roll a d20 and you look and you see which one you're going to play. That way
Really?
you just go back and forth. That way you don't choose who's OP, who's not. You just go random. So when this came out, I thought, wow. And I wanted to like it a lot, but I was hesitant.
Okay, right.
I wasn't even hesitant. I was extremely ecstatic. I was excited. I was like, I love cooperative games. I love Unmatched. I mean, you've seen our ratings for Unmatched. If you watch any of our other
Yeah.
reviews, they're always extremely high. So I was like, freaking Restoration Games has been like hitting on all cylinders recently. So I was extremely like hoping
Right.
that this was going to be good.
Right. The characters, I think, are fun. I'm talking about the good guy here.
Yeah.
The decks that you can take out of this and play.
Yeah.
There's a few in here that are incredibly fun games.
Oh, for sure.
really
decks,
are.
I should say, characters. The Tesla character is just
I like him.
tremendously fun.
Yeah.
With the 2 coils,
You get to charge 'em
almost
up.
every card you can spend 1 coil or both for something better. You charge them up, you zap somebody standing next to you at the beginning of a round. Like, it's just pure fun.
Right.
The other characters, the things they do, some of the trickery at play here is just excellent. And it's a wide swath of flavors and themes,
is.
too. This feels like one of their first releases, the
Battle of Legends.
Yeah, Battle of
Right.
Legends, which was like, here's some wild stuff we're packaging in one box.
And I think that's it. The fact that when Unmatched went into the Marvel, people just like, wow, this is great. And I was like, good. But don't forget where you came from. Don't forget like the historical stuff and all this. And this kind of leans into that.
Yeah.
They brought
cool.
it back. They prove they can do everything and not forego certain things, which is incredible.
It's very interesting too because they're like facing off. All these characters facing off against cryptids.
Yes.
It's like
Right.
we're facing off against the Mothman, or we're facing off against aliens and the Jersey Devil and the Blob. It's all very interesting, like the theme and the aesthetic of the whole thing.
And I love 60s sci-fi type stuff.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
the fonts in these, and then the cards that make them even more difficult. Like if you think it's too easy, you have other cards that will kick it up a notch. And
Yes.
that's crazy, the amount of replayability in that.
Right.
Sounds like we really want to talk about the co-op.
Let's talk about the co-op.
I want to focus one last thing about
Yes.
the 4 characters. I
Right.
think they did a really good job giving you 4 very different characters.
Oh, for sure.
2 come with sidekicks, 2 don't. One is the resource management, Tesla coils. The other one, Golden Bat, is just kind of tanky
yeah.
and
yeah, he doesn't want to.
sarcastic.
He wants to be able to teleport to you to be able to hit you. So he doesn't want to move. If he maneuvers, he doesn't get as hard of a hit. But he has tons of cards that allow him to just appear places.
Right,
You know,
or,
which
and
is
if
really
you don't
cool.
move, you hit harder. So
Right, yeah.
you get 4 very different flavors of character. I thought they did a good job balancing
Mm-hmm.
some of those, and honestly, I think Tesla's one of my favorite characters in
Yeah.
Unmatched now.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, they are really neat characters for sure. As far as the co-op game goes, I love the flavor here. You were talking about that pulpy, monsters, cryptids thing. It's just fun, and it is a clean system
It
too.
is.
Yeah,
This is a very smooth game to run.
The first game I played, we played with Justin of Restoration, and like he was running through everything. And then I've played with Z too, and then Z was going through everything, and I'm like doing the rules, and like I know how to play Unmatched really well. But then just the extra added onto the co-op is so simple. They went like basically as streamlined as you could
Right.
to make this a cooperative game.
Right.
So there's not crazy rules overhead. There's not all sorts of stuff. It just adds this very nice little initiative deck. It's not like crazy innovative, but you don't need innovative. You just need solid, and that's that.
It's also got, the fact that everyone's got the spider with the webs, and you got the blob moving around, and then you've got the fact that Alien just drops just random space guys in the middle of cornfields. But then on top of all that, the mechanics are great in the fact that at the beginning of the game, you feel like this is not winnable. Right, there's no way, and you almost give up the first 5 or 10 minutes. You're like, "This, I can't win." But as you start to defeat those minions, and you get more turns, and they get less, you start realizing I have a chance. And you get to the end. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But that's the perfect cadence of a game.
I think the difficulty here is pretty good. I think that it's well tuned with
Right.
that. And you have, like you said, the cards to make it a little bit nastier if you want to. I have not needed those.
Right, for sure.
The game is still very much like Yeah, we win sometimes, we lose sometimes. I don't feel like I'm crushing it.
Right.
And maybe I would get to that point. Maybe some characters would make the game feel that way. And that's something we should probably talk about. Technically, 4 characters come in here and that's it. But you can bring characters from outside of this box and throw them in there.
And I think
all
you
of them, right?
should.
Yes.
And you should, right? And honestly,
not in a negative sense, just in a like a you have an open toy box. Utilize it.
Yeah, this is the most sort of like, oh, you thought you had toys to play with. Let us refresh your entire collection kind of box. It's like, you can play the way you were playing with your toys. Here's a whole different way to play. That's kind of nuts when you think about it, which is like I was saying, sort of like a big swing, you know. They swung for the fences with it. My one negative, and it's a fairly small negative, is because this was never a thought they had to make this game both competitive and cooperative way down the line, which is what this is, some of the characters are going to be a little weird to play with. Some effects are garbage. Some abilities don't make too much sense, you know, because some of those characters, well, all of them, were never designed to be played this way.
Right.
So there's a little bit of that. And I'm kind of two minds when it comes to how do I rate this, because those characters aren't in this box. I'm rating this product. Yes, you can do that. That's an outside purchase, though. You know, it's not this box. So I'm wrestling with that a little bit. But the fact that you have all this back catalog that if you're into Unmatched, you probably already own, is insane.
It is. And I think one of the things you talk about, too, is the whole, a lot of them make you discard a card. And these guys, you make them discard, it's not that bad. You know, it's like that. It doesn't hurt them nearly as much as it would an opponent.
Right.
You know, but yeah, like you're saying before, bringing people in, it's so fun to like lose a game and then you're like, you know what? You met T-Rex, we're going to bring him in here. And you bring him in, you're like, let's do this. Let's do it again.
Right.
So many ways to mitigate that.
We stress tested this sucker. We're playing T-Rexes and Velociraptors against the aliens. We're playing, you know, Marvel superheroes against Mothman.
Yes.
Like, we run this through the ringer, and there's so many fun matches. Even if the character you pull in from a different set isn't specifically tuned for this, they still work very well.
Right.
And some of them are, I think some of them are pretty easy. Like Ghost Rider versus the Alien is almost like, he's almost like tailor-made to be able to move around and clear out the aliens more easily. So you're going to find some that you're like, that was easier than I thought. I also think that playing this true solo, you might feel it a little bit more swingy because you have one person that you're playing against. You might win in 10 minutes.
Yes.
And be like,
or you might lose in 10 minutes, right? That's the thing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is a little swingier at the lower player counts, fast, because it's so fast.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I remember the first time I played, I was like, how am I half dead already?
I know.
I'm like, it's round 2.
No.
You know, this is really zipping along here. Yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about? Should we go to final thoughts?
I think like the one thing I would say is, if you're wondering, is this a good first purchase? You haven't played Unmatched at all. Is this a good, right? Because maybe you don't love head-to-head stuff, but playing this cooperatively sounds good.
I think if you are that person and you want a cooperative game, this, I feel like, works for that. I don't think as far as cooperative games go, this is that complex. I mean, I guess there's nuances in the decks, but if you think about other cooperative games out there, this is actually a lot simpler to table than other ones, you know, because, I mean, the way that the initiative works and the way that little things come out is really simple overall.
Yeah, it is simple,
Yeah. I think the one hesitancy I have is that, if I'm not mistaken, memory serves, when you read the cooperative rulebook, it says, plays like Unmatched, and kind of here's the differences.
Oh.
And I think that would be hard to jump into. I would love if someone online made like almost a comprehensive first-timer rulebook.
Yeah.
That read like a typical rulebook, rather than kind of saying like, do a normal turn. And then here's how you run the other stuff, you know? Like, that's my only hesitancy. But I think that this otherwise is still a good first set. Characters, the level of difficulty operating, how quick it feels, how much it still feels like playing Unmatched.
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
All right, Joey, what do you got?
All right, well, one thing that this did is I have every Unmatched person, right? But the problem is it's limited. You can't play with people that don't like competitive, or honestly people that are too competitive. Either one of those, I tend to not play with, because they're just not fun. So, but this right there allows me to bring all that to anyone. I mean, you play competitive, it brings everything that I've had kind of in a little shelf over there. I can now play it all the time. And I think the game is perfect. I love everything about it. I love the cadence. I love the theme. I've given this a 10. This is my first 10. I am giving this as the highest because this game is incredible. I mean, Unmatched is already my top 10 of all time. This right here brings it all and makes it hit the table a lot more. Like, I can play with my wife, and we will be friends afterwards. That's huge. Yeah, so that's a big thing.
There are 3 games on this planet we could play.
Yeah, so.
That is huge, Joey.
I like everything about this. Like I said, I'm giving this a 9.5. Like that's the highest I've given any Unmatched set. Unmatched usually hovers around an 8. Some of the highest sets around 8.5 for me. There's a huge jump up because I really like playing it cooperatively. There's only 2 main nemesis to play against.
Right.
But I think the variety is going to come more in the characters you bring to the table, which I think is almost more fun. Less rules, overhead, and management. Yeah, you can switch up some of the little sidekicks that the
minions.
the minions.
Yeah.
And that does change the flavor. But the fact that I can now play Ghost Rider at any time I want, like you're saying, I don't have very many Unmatched opponents that I'm always like, I want to play this again, and I don't even want to play that much. But this set I want to play constantly. I think the biggest downside is that 4 players runs a little long and a little slower. 3 and 2 are fantastic, and solo, the fact that you can true solo this, I'm going to come to this sooner than playing the app, I think, for solo play.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I am also wavering. Like I said, the one thing that was a hang-up for me is sort of an outside problem.
Right.
So I think I need to just let it go. So it's a 10 for me, too. I was between a 9.5 and a 10. I've given one other Unmatched set a 10. I gave it to Cobble and Fog. Cobble
Did you?
and Fog is a 10.
Oh, I want to play with them now.
And I think that stuff would actually fit in
Yeah,
here really,
it
really well.
would.
Dracula up against some aliens, that's happening.
Yes.
Okay?
Wow.
This is a fantastic set. Amazing
Yes.
production. Incredibly fun, thematic, pulpy, silly, high-fiving vibe in here. I love the vibe of this game. It's fantastic. They really did as good a job as you can hope for to take a game that is competitive and somehow turn it cooperative and somehow have it work with all the old stuff, have all the new stuff work the way the previous game works. It's sort of high art for me. So I'm very, very impressed. I absolutely adore this game. I'm going to be playing this for a long time.
Yeah, same here.
10.
For me, I am also giving this one a 10. I rate most of the Unmatched stuff extremely highly, and I like this more than that because this allows me to play, like Joe was saying, this allows me to get the game to the table more because if there's players that aren't at the same level as me and Unmatched, I can be like, hey, let's learn the game cooperatively. We can play it together. We can get it in a team. And we can decide if we want to play versus later, or we can just say, hey, we have tons and tons of different characters. Let's just play it cooperatively against these guys, There's so many different things you can add into this. I think the characters that are in here are super solid. It's really cool the way they did it. I love the cryptid theme on everything. It's really cool to see those characters. Like, oh man, Mothman blowing up bridges. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, these aliens are going around everywhere. It's really cool to see all these different, like, mythical characters going against all of that stuff, I guess Tesla's not a mythical character,
It is to me.
But, this Tesla definitely is a mythical character, I don't remember him running around shocking people. But yeah, I love Unmatched. And this allows me to play Unmatched more, which I love. So, 10 for me.
Well, there you go, folks. That is 3 10s and 1 9.5.
Sorry.
This is one of the highest rated games we've had in a long time.
For
here.
sure.
My
For
only
sure.
10 so far.
There you
My
go.
first 10.
So if you're interested in Unmatched, you're into it already, if you want to try a new flavor of it, this is the one to get right here. That's going to do it for us. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
Blow up them bridges. No, wait, no. Save them. Save the bridges.